I believe a sunrise is one of the most relaxing scenes someone can witness, unless you're chasing a train and it's already miles ahead of you. Such would be my case on the early morning of August 20th, 2023, while making a pre-dawn dash down I-75 to Bradenton. The first glimpse of the aforementioned sunrise would catch us at the Big Manatee River Bridge at Rossi Park. Named after the founder of Tropicana, Anthony T. Rossi, Bradenton's Riverwalk Park would be our spot of choice for this morning's main event. Setting up on the east side of the tracks at the river would be our best way of utilizing the little light that we had. Today's venture south would be for the southbound juice train symboled L700, departing Tampa uncommonly early this morning at 0530. Leading the train to Bradenton would be CSX's first heritage unit, number 1827, for the year that America's first railroad was established, the Baltimore and Ohio. Word of the locomotive coming south on nightly train I-145 to Tampa from Jacksonville would hint at the appearance on the morning run down to Bradenton, which we'd decide to go for. 0651, and the Big Manatee's 97-year-old span, originally built for the Atlantic coastline, begins its descent. Taking a total of 4.5 minutes from the up position to lined and lock, a call from the Alafia River Bridge tender would give L700 clearance across the bridge upon signal indication.
700, go ahead. 700, the Big Manatee is line and lock for your forward movement, and you may proceed upon signal indication. All right, we're going to go across it. Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah.
0701, and L700 is now crossing the river in the first rays of sunlight of the new day. The train would have some switching to do when it arrived at the Tropicana plant in Bradenton, so we'd follow him there to get a couple more shots of this clean locomotive. First move would be to pull the entire train by one of the many yard track switches and back the entire consist into the plant next to the local crew L775 in their SD40-3. With the switching wrapped up, we'd head to breakfast, returning to a quiet yard save for L775 shuffling reefers in the background. The lack of action would end up being a good thing, however, as the rising sunlight on the parked locomotives would give me a chance to photograph the 1827 up close and personal. Chartered in on February 28, 1827, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad became the first operational railroad in the United States under the ownership of Francis Mayer, The 14-mile line would begin operations in 1830 between Baltimore and Ellicott, Maryland, transporting well-to-do individuals between the 2 points. However, it wouldn't take long for the popularity of the railroad to soar, causing massive extensions to the line, concluding in 1963 with the system reaching from St. Louis to Buffalo. In '63, the B&O would be bought by the Chesapeake and Ohio under the title CSX Corporation, finally becoming CSX Transportation in 1987. For the first railroad in the U.S., it only makes sense that CSX would complete the 1827 first. To see this engine in daylight would be a treat for the plethora of rail fans that came out today to see the engine hauling juice on the Palmetto sub. Something pointed out from one of those rail fans is how similar the paint scheme of 1827 is to CSX's office car special, refurbished into the B&O scheme in early 2021. In February of 2023, the OCS would take a trip all the way south to Bradenton on the same rails that 1827 has just driven over. Pretty cool if you ask me. About 1.5 miles north of Tropicana on the Palmetto sub is the old ACL Bradenton Depot, which now plays host to a myriad of doctors' offices. Built by Tampa Southern in 1925, this line used to carry passengers and freight alike down to Sarasota and Fort Ogden, where the line would connect to the main line into Fort Myers and Collier City on the outskirts of the Everglades. Now the depot sees 2 to 4 train movements a day, spanning between the Juice Train and local L783, which is the area's Tampa-based local. Much like the appeal on L700, L781, the Brooksville local would cause a drive to Lutz on a Tuesday night, as ethanol train B831's Norfolk Southern Power was to lead the local train north tonight. In the past 2 years, I recall this to be the 3rd or 4th time that foreign power has visited the line. However, it's been a lot longer since NS has been seen. So I'd set up at a church in Lutz with fantastic light to catch L781 heading north. Two days later, on Thursday night, a friend and I would venture out to the Brooksville sub, this time setting up at the State Road 54 crossing next to Tibbetts Lumber and Land O'Lakes. Compared to the long train with NS Power on Tuesday, Thursday's train would be a polar opposite with a single CSX locomotive and 2 covered hoppers for Cemex. L781 would continue north into the night, sending us home for dinner and capping off this little video. Thanks to all who tuned in for it. I really hope y'all enjoyed. If you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comment section below. But until we meet again trackside, this is Christian for Multicolor Films. End of transmission.